And welcome back to Clear Talk, the financial series here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz, designed to give you some insight and some understanding. And if you've been catching these segments, you know it's a continued conversation. And some of you have been catching them on YouTube. We now have a YouTube channel. We've been placing these conversations there for easier access, so you can go back and forth to see which ones will be applicable to you. Of course, I'm talking with John Nunes, Fortis Insurance Solutions President and CEO. He's been doing this financial, almost 3 decades. So he's well qualified and equipped, unbiased as well. I love that part. He's unbiased. He just gives you the facts as they are. And one thing we don't talk about today, and oftentimes we are discussing things and we look back and go, that could have been a segment, because we're constantly talking about finance. We discuss how a serious illness can reduce one's income while household expenses continue or even increase. And medical coverage alone may not protect the family's cash flow. Think about that. First of all, welcome back to Clear Talk. It's always great to have you. I'm always eager to talk to you about finance, and you have a lot of great answers. So welcome back.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Michael. I know that today's subject is something that you and I have discussed before, but its importance can't be stressed enough, and we'll be able to address that today.
When people think about their financial assets, they usually think about their home or retirement accounts or maybe even investment accounts. But you say working families are overlooking the most important asset. What is it?
Well, Michael, for a working family, usually the most valuable asset may be their ability to produce a paycheck, let's say for the next 20 or 30 years. Now, that income, when it does come in, it helps pay for their mortgage. It's going to fund their retirement. It's going to support the kids. Yet many people protect the house and the car, but only partly protect their paycheck. Now, every plan should have one simple question here, Michael, and that's, what if an illness happens, or an injury, or a death, and your income stops? Then what?
Now, John, many listeners, they're perhaps saying right now that they have health insurance through work. Can you let them know that how that is not the same as having a financial protection plan?
Well, their health insurance, it does help pay eligible medical bills, but what it doesn't do, it doesn't replace the full paycheck, and it doesn't make the mortgage payment or buy groceries, and it also doesn't replace income when a spouse cuts back work to become a caregiver. Now, a family can have an excellent medical plan and still face a serious cash flow problem, because your health coverage is really only going to handle one part of the crisis. The income protection is what helps keep the household running.
And what expenses tend to surprise families after a major health event?
Well, the biggest surprises are often at the normal bills that never stop. And those are bills that include deductibles, co-payments, travel expenses, prescriptions, childcare, or even changes to the home. One spouse may even miss work. Now, the patient may return part-time or may not even return at all. And at the same time, got to remember your mortgage, utility, food, insurance, and debt payments, they're still going to continue. Now, income drops when the expenses rise, and that's always the case. Now, that's when health crisis becomes a financial crisis.
As I'm sitting here listening to you, there are some things in which the family needs to be aware of. What should a working family put in place before a crisis occurs?
It's always going to start, Michael, with liquidity. What a family needs to do is they need to put an emergency savings together that they can reach quickly. Because what that's going to do is going to reduce the need for any type of high interest debt or any forced sale of a long-term asset just to be able to accumulate cash. Now, the next thing that they need to do is they need to review their disability income protection if they have any through their employer, because that may replace part of their paycheck after a qualifying disability. Now, once again, they're going to have to go through their policy because those rules do matter. But what families also need to do is they need to review their paid leave and any employer benefits. But probably the most important is they should know how long they're going to need to pay those essential bills once that income does stop.
There was a segment that we talked about living benefits. You often discuss this. How can that help during a health crisis?
Well, if they do have life insurance, there are some life insurance policies that do include what we call living benefit provisions. And what those provisions do is they allow the insured, while they're still alive, to access part of that death benefit after any type of qualifying terminal, chronic, or even a critical illness. Now, those monies there may help with the bills, may help with any type of care, pay off any debt, or any other needs while the insured is still living. But again, the details do matter because the benefits, they're not automatic. So definitions vary by policy, so you need to check your policy or have someone like myself review that policy for you. Now, the living benefits, that's just one layer of protection. you need to understand that it doesn't replace any health, disability, or any long-term care coverage. And also what they need to know is by using that benefit, it'll usually reduce the amount of money that's left over for the beneficiaries. But one part of it is a layer of protection.
That's well said. Now, John, let us know, why is this issue especially important for people, let's say, in their 30s and 40s?
Well, for the most part, Michael, people in their 30s and 40s, they may have limited savings, but have a lot of obligations, right? They may have children, they might have a mortgage, student loans could be a possibility, obviously credit cards, and they might even have retirement goals. But someone getting a serious health event is going to interrupt probably many years of somebody's future earnings. And it's going to force the family to stop retirement contributions or maybe even use funds from their 401k. They may even have to borrow against their home. And what that's going to do is that's going to add expensive debt. So younger families have a long income runway ahead. And that's why protecting it is such a big importance right now.
And how can an unprotected health event affect the rest of someone's financial plan?
Well, what we've always seen is that it can start a chain reaction, because what's going to happen is this: your retirement contributions are going to stop. Your emergency savings are going to disappear. At the same time, your credit card balances are going to grow and your investments may be sold at the wrong time. Now, home equity could be used out of desperation, but desperation is not a strategy. Even insurance policies can lapse if premiums become unaffordable. So that is why the Protect pillar supports all of the other pillars, your retire, your bank, and leverage pillars. Because protection right now, that is the part of wealth building. It's going to keep one difficult season from becoming a permanent financial setback.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking with John Nunes of Fortis Insurance Solutions. He's given some great information. Now, John, what should listeners do after hearing this discussion?
Yeah, Michael, it all starts with a simple protection review. That review is going to see how many months of expenses are available in cash, what disability benefits come through work, and how much life insurance is in force, and does it include living benefits? Who would manage the household if someone became seriously ill? Our goal here is to find the gaps before we choose a product. Now, listeners can visit us at www.fortisinsurancesolutions.com, or they can call me direct at 1-800-900-3150, and we'll schedule a Fortis Legacy Diamond Strategy session. Because what I'm willing to do here for your listening audience, Michael, is to provide them a free policy review. Because if you're not sure if your current insurance policies have living benefits, a simple review by myself can let you know whether or not you do have them. So go ahead and contact me, because the whole point here is to have a plan in place that includes the living benefits before life forces you to ask those types of questions.
Well said indeed. John Nunes of Fortis Insurance Solutions giving us another Clear Talk financial segment. John, appreciate you being here as always. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening on the radio, you should know that these segments are being uploaded into our YouTube channel, which you'll find if you go to sacsmoothjazz.fm. If you're there already, just click on the Clear Talk tab and it'll take you right to our page that has links to the YouTube page as well. So John, really appreciate you being here as always. Looking forward to our next discussion on Clear Talk. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks once again, Michael, for having me.
Our pleasure, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the music. This is Sacramento Smooth Jazz, your escape from the noise.